What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're going to be taking a peek around the cryptocurrency market. We'll start here with the Bitcoin price chart. We're going to peek over there at the dominance charts and a couple of the altcoin charts and see what's going on here in the altcoin market, in the crypto market. I hope that you guys have had a wonderful holiday. I'm going to put out a really quick video today. I've been gone for 4 days enjoying the Christmas break, but we're going to dive into some charts because there's been some price action. The thing a lot of people probably noticed throughout the holiday was the rise in the price of Bitcoin up here into the low 50s. So Bitcoin's gone up about $3,000 in the last several days. But I think the bigger story that's been going on throughout the cryptocurrency market over the last few days has been the dominance of Bitcoin and the dominance of Ethereum, which is the thing we've been talking about for the last several days. In front of you, I've got the Ethereum dominance of the cryptocurrency market. I've pointed to this several times over the last couple of weeks over here on the left side where this top is. This was the top of the 2017-2018 bull market for Ethereum when Ethereum went up to like $1,400 in January of 2018, and then it crashed, went into a bear market down to $80. That was the tipping point for Ethereum right there. We've been looking at that for the last few weeks. As we can see, it has been getting turned around at that price point. One could argue, oh, whatever, who cares? It's been doing that the whole time, right? Just for it to get right here. But we can peek down here at strength indexes and oscillators and see, is there something fundamentally changing in the strength of Ethereum's dominance at this point? And we do see that down here on the relative strength, that we could see the grinding upward with higher lows, and that we are now setting a new lower low here on the daily time frame. But that's not good enough. If we switch ourselves over here to the weekly time frame to look at the bigger picture of what's going on in here, we could see how the strength has set a bearish divergence multiple times in here. And I'll show you that Ethereum's dominance has been getting weaker and weaker and weaker as the price has been rising and rising and rising. So we see the bearish divergence showing up on Ethereum on the weekly time frame. And then we also recognize the breakdown happening here on the daily time frame as well. So you can see how low this relative strength is in relation to these past two lows and these heights over here. That's equivalent to the dominance being down in here. So we have bearish divergences showing up on the daily time frame and on the weekly time frame over here on the dominance chart, right? So very rare that we're looking at relative strengths on dominance charts, but it's something to peek at for simply the sake that we know that this price level or this level that the dominance is at is incredibly critical in regards to what happened last time. This was as much dominance as Ethereum could handle, 22%. After that, Ethereum could not handle holding on to that much of the market share and it had to bleed out. That, of course, is important because we know that Ethereum's market cap has reached a 4.236 extension. It has hit as high as $575 billion. And we know that in the 2017 bull run for Bitcoin, it reached as high as 336 billion. So Ethereum's at 575 billion, at least that's where the top was so far. And Bitcoin only hit 336 in the last bull run. And it was once those tops came in that the altcoin market started to rotate and we saw a lot of the rest of the market start to take off. So early indicators over here looking positive for Ethereum. But the big question has been, well, if the Ethereum dominance is going to be getting rejected from right here, does that simply mean that Bitcoin's going to swallow it back? Because Bitcoin's been a different story. Bitcoin isn't butting up against a resistance level. Bitcoin's down here at a support level. So could we actually see both those things happen at the same time? Can we see Ethereum get rejected from its resistance level and at the same time Bitcoin break down from its support level? You would think the opposite would be the case, right? Either Bitcoin loses its support level because Ethereum's going to break out higher and Ethereum's going to claim more of the dominance of the market, or you would think Ethereum's going to get rejected and then Bitcoin's going to swallow back the dominance of the market. But the thing that we've been studying on this channel was to say that there's this outlook that there could be this rejection of Ethereum from its 22% dominance and also the breakdown of Bitcoin at the same time, because there's like three aspects of this market. There's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and everything else. And for that, we've been taking a look at the Bitcoin plus Ethereum dominance for the last several weeks, and we can see that over the course of the last couple of days, there has been a shift down in the Bitcoin plus Ethereum dominance. If you're seeing this for the first time, I'll make this really brief. We've been studying this to say, hey, we had something nearly identical happen during the last bull run. Once the Bitcoin plus Ethereum dominance did break down, it was the opportunity for the rest of the market to have a really big run and swallow a lot of the market cap. Considering that Bitcoin's market cap has hit a 4.236 extension and Ethereum's market cap has hit a 4.236 extension, and that there are many other coins throughout the cryptocurrency market that are typically contenders for those top spots, or at least the top 10 in the crypto market, that have yet to take off, that it seems logical that that could happen, that we could see a rotation into the rest of the market that has yet to take off as the Bitcoin and Ethereum dominance breaks down. And like we talked about earlier, Ethereum hitting a $575 billion market cap, whereas Bitcoin only hit, $325 billion during the last bull run. And it was once Bitcoin popped and the money started rotating, it spread throughout the rest of the market. Well, not only do we have, Ethereum at, 575 billion, you got Bitcoin up there at 1.2, 1.3 trillion. There's just a lot of money tied up in those two assets to be spread throughout the rest of the market. And as we can see over here on the dominance, we have started to get some movement happen in here throughout the last couple of days. But when looking over here at the Bitcoin dominance, whether or not you want to trust any type of trend lines on a dominance chart or not, and as you know, I'm not huge on trend lines because they get violated left and right. And you can see all these API issues on here, sending these wicks up and down, but that it is just kind of on the brink here. And that's typically how these things will go, is you'll get these kind of flags coming up here. You come in and take out this low, and then you'll work this for just a second, and then off and away it goes. So essentially, any type of, real break in here, taking out this low, I think we're on our way. Now, the thing to go back to is going to be looking over here at Bitcoin. So there was a lot of excitement that happened here in the last few days. I just, was kind of a lurker over there on Twitter to see a lot of euphoria return to the market again when we got back to those prices. We got back to, $52,000. You saw all the people hooting and hollering back to a bull market. So the thing I keep talking about, and just, I'm not here to be negative Nancy, just to keep it in mind, is that, my price expectations are to be getting back up near these levels right in here, 56, 57, 58. But my bigger perspective of Bitcoin is that it still is going to reverse back down on itself and head back down to lower prices. So I saw what happened, how many times I got tagged in Twitter on like, hey, does this mean anything? Is this a big deal? Is this really critical? Is this amazing? Does this change the perspective of anything? Just remember, my bigger expectations have been that Bitcoin, if Bitcoin's in a bear market, it's going to constantly lure people in, it's going to trap people, it's going to turn over on itself. And that's how bear markets work. Bear markets are the opposite of what bull markets were. And so unfortunately for a lot of people who came into the market in 2021, you have to go step yourself back into 2020. And I think anybody who is here in 2019 and 2020 can relate to what happened as Bitcoin was taking off, is that you have doubters the whole way up. When you're at 15,000, people are saying, nope, it's not going to do it. When it's at 20,000, nope, it's going to get rejected from the all-time high. 25,000, nope, it's not going to keep going much higher. It's just barely broken out of the all-time. 30,000, 40,000, oh, now it's too high. It's going to collapse. It's got to fall. 40,000, 45,000. Elon Musk announced that they buy it. Elon Musk announced we bought Bitcoin. Boom, everybody pours into the market, right? So then you finally lose that whole group of people who were the doubters. So the market will be full of people who will doubt that the price will rise. As the price is rising, they will think it's going to turn over on itself at any moment. And then during bear markets, it's full of the opposite effect. It's that everybody's anticipating that we're going to go back into a bull market with every price rise. And so, like, if we just kind of move back a little bit over here on Bitcoin and go back and live through what those moments, like, people were fearful in here. And I always talk about how, it's not my first rodeo, us going through a dip. I've dealt with these things many times. And it's because the behavior is the same in every single one of the dips. On the ride up, I get to see what sentiment is like and what behavior is like. And people don't think we're going to recover from these things. And they don't think we're going to recover from these things. And then finally, they think that there's no way we're going to fall from here. And then once we fall, they think we're not going to recover from these things. And so what we see different happening in here is so much belief that we're going to recover, and any type of price rise is not still met with extreme cynicism, right? And so what has happened is a big shift of the Bitcoin has been taken out of the hands of whales, large pockets, and it's been put into the hands of retail investors. And retail investors have at this point now learned their lesson that they should be buying the dip. But typically it's the moment that the herd, the moment that the group has all learned their lesson that it ends up being wrong. And I am in no way an on-chain expert. Literally, I look at like three things and that's about all I can kind of like barely interpret when it comes to on-chain stuff. But that's even represented here on just wallets. And then, everybody's going to argue, well, entities and all that stuff. But if we just simplify it and I just look at it like this, right, take it for what it is. You look at the addresses with greater than 1,000 Bitcoin, and we can see they all did the major profit taking in here. And then they've never rescooped back up the market. Just like in the last bear market, it wasn't until the capitulation phase started coming in that they really started scooping the market back up. But we could see they distributed and they got rid of it. So the big whales were getting rid of it up in here and they have not reaccumulated it. Whereas when we look at the smaller wallets, the ones with greater than 0.01 Bitcoin, they are at all-time highs up in here. We'll zoom in a little bit and you can see that from this moment, right? The smaller people, the retail investors were all buying all up in here. And as we saw, the large wallets were all selling. And now the small wallets are all up here in these all-time highs, buying up all of this in here. Same goes for the wallets with greater than 0.1 Bitcoin. So these are even people with, 5,000, more than $5,000. They're up in here accumulating up at these highs. But once we go to greater than 1 Bitcoin, we can see that they're not higher than what the highs used to be. Greater than 10 Bitcoin, we can see all the distribution they did up in here. They're not reaccumulating it. The people who are getting all the Bitcoin put into their hands here are the smaller fish, are the, retail investors. The point of this is not to come back from Christmas break and be a negative Nancy on Bitcoin, but to point to what's been going on over the break with the Bitcoin dominance. And we can clearly see this accumulation down here below that broken support, and that this typically ends up leading to another breakdown, and that the Ethereum dominance is struggling here at this 22% dominance level, and that the indicators over here on the strength are showing us that Ethereum is getting weaker, not only on the daily, but also down here on the weekly time frame. And another thing to notice over here on Bitcoin is to show that even on the monthly time frame, when we look at the monthly candles for Bitcoin, we can see the massive bearish divergence that is shown up here on Bitcoin with this new high that was set and how weak it was, and that we're about to have the MACD crossover and rollover, that this is getting much weaker in here for Bitcoin on the monthly time frame. But over the course of the last few days, a nice little move over here has happened in these dominance charts to indicate we might be on our way. And I know in crypto, especially in crypto, that there's a lot of tribalism for specific assets. And, a big group of people are in the Bitcoin world and a big group of people are in the Ethereum world. And they take it as tribalism for saying those things. But this is just market analysis. This is just looking at what's going on in the market. That Bitcoin's market cap has hit a 4.236, Ethereum's market cap has hit a 4.236, and the Bitcoin and Ethereum dominance are showing incredibly similar behaviors to what we had happen last time, to where the rest of the market had its shot to go. And so what we saw happen over the course of the last couple of days looks like the appearance of an initial breakdown in these dominances going on here. Incredibly difficult to just draw trend lines on here and say with any certainty, hey, yeah, that trend line break right there means that it's definitely broken down. But boy, it sure looks like it's at the early stages of it. And that once this thing did start to go, it really started to go last time. I don't think it's going to move at the same pace at which it moved back in 2017, because we didn't move at the same pace here in 2021. We moved at a slower pace during this time period. And we can spend a second here just talking about time perspectives, right? If we look at from what happened for the altcoin market from 2013 to, the top of the 2013 bull run to going on to the 2017, 2018 bull run, it was 1,500 days, right? So we haven't hit 1,500 days yet in this current cycle. And I know with Bitcoin right now, there's a lot of, talk of extended cycles, right? Going through 2018, 2019, and 20, it was all talk about 4-year block reward halvings, 4-year cycles, and everything like that. And now we're getting a lot of talk of extended cycles, right? That stuff doesn't matter anymore. And that makes perfect sense right now, because why? It's December of 2021. December of 2021 represents the 4-year cycle. It represents the end of a 4-year cycle. So right now everybody's talking about, no, that doesn't matter anymore. Now we have extended cycles and that stuff just doesn't matter anymore. And let me also say this, and I say this all the time. I can't accurately predict time consistently. I haven't met anybody who can. And I know the question everybody has is when moon, and they want that question answered more than any other question at all. The question just can't be answered. There's no one out there who can accurately and consistently predict time. To do it one time or to do it once every 10 times is one thing, but to get it right consistently just isn't out there. The only thing we can ever do is really just base off of previous models, but then of course there's always fundamental changes that end up happening. It's impossible to do. But we can take a look at what happened last time, and we know that, if the 4 years is up for Bitcoin, we know that the altcoin market runs a little bit behind Bitcoin. And from a time perspective, looking at how much time elapsed in the last major run for the altcoin market, there's still time that takes you out to until mid-February until the time has been equivalent to what occurred last time. Takes you out to about February 11th, 12th, 13th, something like that, to get to 1500 days. And we do know that the altcoin explosion, the final push up in the altcoin market that came last time, occurred after Bitcoin had already topped. And we also know that when this dominance breakdown did occur back in 2017, so if this is going to do something similar to what happened back in here, we can just look at the dates right in here, right? This December, right? December. Bitcoin had already topped at this point when this moment started occurring. So if that's what is on the horizon here, if this is already in the actual breakdown and going, that's what it signified back here too. It did signify Bitcoin's top was already in. So lots of excitement over here that the Bitcoin price is moving up. Yep, I guess it is exciting. We're seeing the rest of the market go. I think that's more exciting because the percentages of what Bitcoin has shifted up are pretty small, right? 5%. We can see most of the market doing that as well. And you could see just here in the last several days, you could see that Cardano in itself during that time frame has shifted up 18%. So I think that's what the cards are going to show moving into the future, is that it's going to be a lot of the other altcoins shifting up bigger percentages than Bitcoin. And I think the real big question is going to be, if Bitcoin does do what I expect and what, my scenario has, is that it rises up in here, what is the altcoin market going to do during the time period of a downward move in Bitcoin? My anticipation is a retracement in here and for the altcoin market to go absolutely crazy in that moment. But the real big question is what happens in there. And I don't really know or have a scenario for it. One would expect there would be some type of downward shift in the altcoin market during that time period. But I can tell you that this chart doesn't indicate that that's what would happen. This chart indicates that the altcoin market would be completely fine during that time period. If the Bitcoin dominance is falling while Bitcoin is falling, I just couldn't imagine the altcoin market being too severely impacted. Maybe it'll fall a little bit, but not like the numbers like we're used to seeing, where sometimes that altcoin market can take a 30 or 40% dump. But if the altcoin market's going to be outperforming Bitcoin during that time, while Bitcoin takes a shift down 40%, I don't know. Is it 20%? Is it none? Is it a breakout? Is it a full-blown shift of money from Bitcoin into the altcoin market? And the only reason Bitcoin's price is going down is because everybody's selling all their Bitcoin to go chase the altcoin market. I don't know, but it's very, very interesting to see the move that has happened here over the Christmas break for the Bitcoin and the Ethereum dominance. That it appears that the break has already begun. And just remember, so I know a lot of people think, that means when moon right now, this minute, you could just kind of take the time length that this took, that even though a breakdown had occurred, you can shift down 1% over the course of the next week, and that's still be in the breakdown, and then another percent over the course of another week, and then, a little bit of a 1% rebound, and then just over time, it eventually grinds its way down and down and down, and enough time passes before enough of these percentages happen. So when we come back tomorrow, the expectations are not that, oh my gosh, the dominance has just taken a big, massive move down 5%. You could see each little day, it's about 1/10% or a 1/5% of a move down each day. And so the main thing that I'm looking for, and that you can keep your eye out for too, is that the thing that I'm searching for, I'll be laying in bed and saying to myself, oh yes, I'm going to have something amazing to talk about tomorrow, is waiting to see one of these altcoins start to really go. And I'm not talking something that's like rank number 200 and it just shifts up and has some big surge, but like if there's like 2 or 3 big name coins that start popping off and doing something something interesting, that's a pretty good indicator for me. That's something that I lean on a lot, and I use that on this channel when I start seeing those things. So if you want to be one of the early people to discover it too for yourself, that's what I'm always looking for, is something in the rest of the market indicating some type of bigger breakout. While the market is green right now, while the dominance is showing early signs of breaking down, there still isn't a big breakout happening here in the altcoin market. Yeah, we see stuff up 7%, up 8%, but you know the things that we look for. It's that irrational, crazy stuff, that 30, 40, 50%, stuff that you don't usually see in the stock market unless it's GameStop or AMC in some crazy moment in time. But that's kind of normal in crypto during these phases of altcoin seasons of a 30, 40, 50% rise in just something. And so right now it's hard to put my complete stamp on it that it's happening at this moment because there isn't one that's doing it. There's that initial appearance of a breakdown happening in the Bitcoin dominance and in the Bitcoin plus Ethereum dominance, but still the thing that we're waiting for is to see a couple of these coins give us the early indication that it's actually happening, which we don't have yet. We have nice little rises here, 7 and 8%, all cool and all gravy and all. But once you're going to see that change in tune in my voice when I come onto my channel and being like, yo, hey, 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 there's a big event happening here. It's going to be once there's just something. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be stellar lumens. It could be 0x, basic attention token, EOS, Zcash, whatever, just one of them showing us some type of sign. So that's the big thing that I'm waiting for right now. But the thing that also, now we step back and we become negative Nancy again, is that, a lot of excitement coming on the rise of Bitcoin. But just remember all the things that we've talked about, right? Bitcoin's market cap has hit a 4.236 extension. The most common thing we see happen in these structures, if the top is already in, which I suspect that it is that there is a rise back up to these price levels and then a roll down. And also, if we are seeing the breakdown in the Bitcoin and Ethereum dominance, that also does indicate at the exact same time the same thing going on there, that this was a moment in time that the Bitcoin top was in. And if this breakdown is happening, that's also take it for what you want. If you want to believe it's something different, that's cool, that's gravy and all. But just know what happened last time. It also represented that Bitcoin's top was in when that breakdown was occurring in there, and the altcoin market being the lagging force in the cryptocurrency market is that when the altcoins are taking off, all of it represented that Bitcoin's top was already in. So like I always say, I'm never going to tell you what to do. I'll tell you what I'm doing, and I'll show you the data that I'm looking at. Interpret it how you want. Just know all of my focus at this point, based on all the data that we see, is that those market caps hitting those 4.236 extensions for Bitcoin and for Ethereum both have significant impacts on me and my analysis. They have a very big meaning for me. And it just so happens to be that those dominance charts are doing those things at the time of when they're doing them. So I know a lot of excitement for the rise in Bitcoin price, but I am a bigger picture type person. Pinpointing what the price behavior is going to be like on the short-term time frame is incredibly difficult to do. But my expectations based on the structures that we've seen before, which I think it was last week or it was the week before, I compared this to the Ford Motor Company topping structure and what happened. And this is how it played out, is that it did have a rise up a little bit higher to go back to close out the gap of the initial breakdown, and then it rolled over on itself again. So just keep that in mind. But otherwise, I think we're all happy to say that there was positive price action during the break. Last year, man, it was it was a different story last year. I think we all appreciated that. Hopefully, you had an opportunity to spend some time with your family and not be stuck staring at charts. And anytime if you did peek over at the charts, hopefully there was positive price action during that time, which we didn't get last year, especially not for the XRP community. That was a complete and utter nightmare. But I'm happy to report I had a good holiday. I had a nice time with my family, and the charts were not overwhelming my life during that time. That was really great. And if you missed it last Wednesday, I think it's the last day I was here. Last Wednesday, I mentioned that I was going on the Chain YouTube channel, and I was going to ask John Deaton a question. I asked you guys to type in the comments what the question would be, and I did it. And I went on that channel, and I didn't tell you guys that, hey, who's that guy right there? So if you'd like to go see me ask John Deaton a question, pertaining to the Ripple and SEC lawsuit, including with XRP, of course. You can go check out that video and On the Chain Live. But otherwise, I'm back a day early, right? I said I wasn't going to be back until Tuesday, but it's hard to step away this long. I feel like I got a good break. I feel refreshed. Figured we'd ease our way back into the markets again. But otherwise, I hope you guys had a great holiday break. I hope you had opportunity to spend time with your family. I sure did. The house is an absolute mess. I wasn't actually supposed to make a video because I'm supposed to be like responsible and clean up all the Christmas stuff that's going on because our living room still looks like a disaster zone. So once I get this thing exported, edited, I've got to go work on the house, take down some Christmas lights and all that kind of stuff and get ready for the new year. But I just couldn't stay away too long. So all right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're looking for something to do, of course, you could check out my website over here. This is bcbacker.com. This is a course that I put together where I deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs, the previous altcoin seasons, the altcoin market cycles, tying them all together. I show how the cryptocurrency market has worked in the past. I talk about my personal exit plans in here, and I teach you how to set up your own charts and your own indicators so you can do your own charting within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro. I had recently added in here my exit plan part 4 final update for Ethereum in there and the blockchain backer exit plan part 4 progress update. Most recent market update is down there November 30th. We'll be getting our new one here pretty soon. It's almost the end of December. You could check out all of this educational content over here on bcbacker.com. You could follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker, and I want to thank you so much for watching my channel. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor, but if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.